Hey everyone, my name is Reggie and welcome to my channel. Today I'm really excited to share with you my March TBR. If you're new here and you haven't done so yet, you should definitely consider subscribing because I post new bookish videos every week. And you should also hit the bell, dude. That will notify you of when I post new videos. If you like TBR videos, definitely give me a thumbs up on this video so I know you want to keep seeing them for me in the future. Now, without further ado, let us get into all of the books I hope to read in March. The first book I want to read in March is The Witch Doesn't Burn in This One by Amanda Lovelace. This is a book of poetry by the author of The Princess Saved Herself in This One. So this is her second collection of poetry, and I did receive an e-arc of this from the publisher in exchange for an honest review. So I would like to read it very soon. The next book I would like to read in the month of March is also an e-arc I received from the publisher, and this is Starry Eyes from Jen Bennett. This is a, I assume, contemporary YA romance. The two main characters are from families that just have bickered and not gotten along for a long time. The feud is jokingly compared to the feud between the Montagues and the Capulets, which of course are from Romeo and Juliet. And the story apparently takes off as the main characters find themselves stranded during a school camping adventure or something like that. And they are forced to air their grievances and see if they can get along. Things like that. What really sold me is I believe this is set in Yosemite, which is my favorite place in the whole wide world. If you don't know, Yosemite is a national park in California. I heard that it was set in Yosemite, but I don't know if that's accurate because I just read the summary and it says it's set in Northern California, and Yosemite is definitely Central California. But the next book is the one I'm super most excited to read in the month of March, and that is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This will be a reread for me. This is one of my favorite books of all time, but I do want to reread this in preparation for the Love, Simon movie. Rereading books before the movies is not always the best bet because you just have that book fresh in mind and then you're just comparing them the whole way through. But I also think I've grown as a person a lot, and I can separate books and movies as sisters, not twins. Hopefully that is the case for this because I have been meaning to reread it since I first read it, and I'm definitely going to be reading it in March. So hopefully I read it and love it, and I will, but also still am able to love and appreciate the movie because I know it's going to be amazing. I also really want to read Every Day by David Levithan because this also has a movie adaptation. This movie adaptation is actually already out. I've never read this book before though, so I did want to read this before I eventually watch the movie. I don't think I'll be watching the movie until it comes to like Netflix or streaming or Redbox or something like that, a little more accessible. However, I still do want to read it, and I have an audiobook from my library out, so now is the time. This is a book I've been hearing so much about since forever ago, but basically this is a book about a character named A who is gender ambiguous, I believe. A wakes up in a different person's body every day. So they don't have a gender because they're like an entity and a person because they wake up in a different person every day, and technically their sex is whatever body they wake up in, and I don't believe they identify as a specific gender, but I don't know because I haven't read the book. Essentially, one day A wakes up in a body and finds true love, and then the story becomes an adventure of trying to recapture that and find that person again. So it's kind of like 50 First Dates, but not at all. It sounds like an interesting premise. It sounds like it could be doing some really cool things with gender and sex politics. It could be doing some really bad things with sex and gender politics. I don't know because I haven't read it, and I've heard good and bad things about the representation in this book. However, I want to see the movie, I want to read the book, all that good stuff, so now is the time. Speaking of a book that now is the time to read, the next book I want to read is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I want to read this because the hype train is real. Everyone's talking about it and it sounds so, so good. Scythe is a dystopian, actually I think it's a utopia world, where the world has conquered death. There's no disease, there's no need to die, there's no reason you would die. But because of that, you know, not everyone can live forever. So scythes go around deciding who and when people's lives should end. So this is done for population control purposes, and I believe this book follows our characters as they are learning how to be scythes. and what that process entails. It sounds very good. Second book just came out. Everyone's loving, hyping, raving about these books. So I'm definitely excited to finally read one. Another book I just have to read in the month of March is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This is a book that just came out. Well, I say just. It was quite a few months ago. I think October. However, this is Marissa Meyer's most recent book, and it follows an anti-villain, a villain, who, we're in a world where there's superheroes, kind of, and she is trying to stop the vigilantes. I don't know the specifics. I know we're following not necessarily the quote-unquote good guy, but it's not necessarily like a villain story like Heartless is. It's kind of like an anti-hero kind of story. That's pretty much the full synopsis that I know of. I'm sure there's a lot more to the story. It is a good-sized book, and I believe the first in the series, so I'm excited to see details and figure out what the story is about, since obviously I'm sure there's a lot more to it than I know. I am planning on doing a video in the month of March, which would require me to have read this book, so I will be reading it. Another book I have to read for that same video is Wires and Nerves by Marissa Meyer. I'm holding up volume 1, but I will also need to get my hands in volume 2 and read that one, actually. If you enjoyed this video, and like I said, if you enjoy TBRs and want to continue seeing them on my channel, let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. Also, comment down below and let me know which one of these books I should read first. I'm probably going to read the ERCs first because I need to get those done and out into the world. However, I could probably be persuaded to break that order just a little bit because I think both of those books are out in mid-March. So, let me know what I should read first. And that is all for today's video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
Baby, I beg you, yeah.